The majority of you are poor because you read poor stuff. You watch poor stuff. You on Instagram watching fights. Bro, you just scrolling through like you ain't got a life. That's a poverty mindset.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Black Excellence Daily. I am your host, Sean Croxton. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you had a great weekend and you're ready to kick off this week with E.T., the hip-hop preacher, Eric Thomas. Before we get to E.T., I want to tell you how this particular talk changed the trajectory of my entire life. Like, we wouldn't even have this podcast if it were not for this talk. I've been on Instagram as long as I can remember, 13 years or something like that. And for the vast majority of that time, my content never really got any traction. You know, despite having some pretty big audiences from past podcasts that I've done, my Instagram would sit around like 15, 16,000, just would not budge at all. And my content was rather vanilla, right? It wasn't pushing any buttons. It wasn't grabbing people's attention. And one day I watched this talk, and I was like, I want to make a reel out of this because it resonates with me and it might resonate with other people. So I made the reel and I was afraid to post it. Like, it sat in my Dropbox for weeks and I was like, I don't know if I want to do this one. And the reason was because here you have Eric Thomas on stage talking to a room full of Black folks. And the reel started off with these words: the majority of you are poor because you read poor stuff. You watch poor stuff. You on the Instagram watching fights. And I was like, oh man, I am going to be accused of blaming the victim, of telling people to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, which is what we generally hear in our community when somebody takes a stand and calls for personal responsibility and accountability. And one day I was just like, you know what? F it. Let's just post it and see what happens. If it goes bad, I can always just delete it. So I pushed the publish button and I walked away. And later on, when I opened up my account, I was like, oh, snap. Look at this. Never seen this before. So many positive comments, so many likes, so many shares from primarily Black folks. And from that day, for months, I was getting at least 1,000 new Black followers every single day. We went from like 15,000 to 100,000 followers in a matter of months. It was wild, right? And what that told me was this: we want to hear more of this, that we are a little bit tired of people coddling us, treating us like we're toddlers, telling us that or what we can't do, telling us we're inferior, so on and so forth. Like, we want to hear these messages of responsibility and accountability, because within all of us is this self, right? This real self that says, you know, I can create whatever possibility I want to create. Like, I am powerful. I can do whatever I want to do. I just need to hear more people tell me this, because I've been told by so many other people all my life that I can't. And so, just really proud of the community that, you know, this content has been able to build online over this last few years. And I thank you for following along and for liking, commenting, and sharing, not just my Instagram content, but also this content as well. A couple of thoughts on this particular talk, additional thoughts. Number one, he is going to share what he learned from millionaires about how to become a millionaire. One thing I highly encourage you to do right now, because your phone is right there, go to the App Store, download any compound interest calculator and start messing around with the numbers, right? Just punch in $25,000 as your starting balance. Actually, let me just do it right now. $25,000 as your starting balance. And then let's say 8% return. And then let's say you're 30 years away from retirement. So that'll be the duration, and 0 periodic addition. In 30 years, that $25,000 would have been $251,000. One thing that we're not taught when it comes to financial literacy is how compound interest works. Compound interest is a miracle. It is wild, right? And when you start to see the numbers, you start to second guess some of your purchases. Let's say you want to buy a $300 pair of shoes, let's do this right now. It's a starting balance, 8% return, 30 years away from retirement. In 30 years, that $300 would have been $3,018. So, one of my philosophies on life is, it's a Tanzanian proverb, is little by little, a little becomes a lot. So if you can put away $30 this week, $120 this month, and you keep doing that, and let's say you raise your savings by 1% every quarter, in 30 years, that's a lot of money. That's like, you're on your way to generational wealth, but we have to cut down on our consumption and start putting our money away. So we have to save more than we spend. It's very simple, but for some of us, it's very hard to do. But when you look at the compound interest calculator and start messing around with the numbers, you're like, wow, that's wild. I didn't know my money can grow like that. Number two, he's talking about language here. We talked a couple of weeks ago about my parents. They made sure that my brother and I spoke English. We would get in trouble if we spoke Ebonics, right? And it's not right, but we also have to accept reality for what it is right now. And, if you're trying to work in corporate and you're in an interview and you say, I'm finna do some hard work for you though, that's not going to work. And so, again, it might not be fair, but it is reality. And so, some of us are going to be offended by what he says about learning the language, but it's something that we have to do if we want to make it, in corporate, if you want to be in corporate. If you don't want to be in corporate, you want to be an entrepreneur, you can speak however you want to speak. But if you want to have a job and you want to make really good money, you got to speak the language. And so, Eric Thomas is coming up.
Okay, let me say it this way. They looked at the most successful men and women of the world, and they found that they had like 7, 8 things in common. And one of the things they all had in common was a routine. They are obsessed with their routine. They don't have a gap of wasted time in their routine. I realized the reason why I'm so successful and the reason why I don't get in trouble like I used to when I was younger is because when I was younger, man, my schedule had so many gaps in it. The devil had okay, he might pray at 6, but my man is watching TV. He playing video games by 8:30. It's not that I'm sweeter than nobody. The devil can't get to me because all my time is taken up. And by the time he get to me, I'm asleep. I'm too asleep to sin. I'm just being real. 8:30, he like, Eric, you should. I'm like, bro, I'm tired. Come back to me tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, tip me tomorrow, bro. I'm about to go to sleep. I'm good. I'm just tired right now. He's like, but no, you want to? I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm tired. But let's try tomorrow morning. Right? And I'm being real. I get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure he there I'm 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure he there yo, E, go back to sleep. Listen to me. I promise y'all. I got up the other day like at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and I was just walking around because I was like, I'm so tired. I heard the devil say, go back to sleep. I was like, yeah, you're right. I should go back to sleep. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I was like, bro, you wanted something. You know what I'm saying? He's like, why you getting up this early? You already number one in the world. You already number one in the world, E. You already doing what you're supposed to be doing. Like, E, you've been grinding. Just go ahead, it's 3. And my body said, yo, E, what would you go back to sleep for? I said, I'm tired. My body said, you're not tired. I said, well, why would you say I'm not tired? He said, because you woke up without an alarm clock. You woke yourself up. So if you were tired, your body wouldn't let you get up. If you were tired, your body would make you sleep to 6. You got up, it's 3. No, what you don't want to do is the grind, but you're up. So do me a favor, Eric, you don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to work. You've been getting up at 3 so early in the morning, don't even worry about it. Just put your shoes on, and when you get on the treadmill, it's just going to do it for you because you've been doing it every day for 3 o'clock in the morning. For real. My body said, all you got to do is put your shoes on. That's the hardest thing you got to do. Just put your shoes on, and I'll do the rest. I can't put your shoes on for you, but put your shoes on, and then just go. And I just went. And I was walking I do the 11 incline, boy, and I was just walking for an hour, and I was just like, you know what? It's almost an hour. I don't feel like running. And my body was like, don't even worry about it. We'll get to that when we get to it. I did my hour, was about to get off. My body was like, we run now. I said, what? We run now. Let's go. You ain't tired? I said, I am tired. No, you're not. You just walked for an hour. You're not tired, Eric. Your brain is telling you some dumb stuff. If you were tired, you wouldn't have been able to walk for an hour. Okay, so let's do this. Just run for 2 minutes. I'm trying to help somebody right now go to a whole nother level. The Bible says the reason why you go back to sleep is because you've always gone back to sleep. It's like a default. You go back to sleep because all you got to do is stop going to sleep, and then you're going to stop going to sleep. All you got to do is stop fussing and cussing, and you're going to stop fussing and cussing. All you got to do is stop spending all the money you got and start saving it. Listen to me. I became #1 in the world. I became a millionaire not because I made more money. I became a millionaire because they told me millionaires only live off of 30% of their income. I want to make it plain for you. I became a millionaire because I did what millionaires did. I stopped living off 100%. I paid my tithe, and then I was like, all right, E, you only got 20% left. Put the rest up. So the first thing I did, listen to me, the very first thing I did to become rich, somebody said, E, to be rich, put 6 months of your earning to the side. So I was like, all right, bet. That's what the rich told me to do. So I put 6 months to the side. How long did it take? I don't remember, but I put it to the side. Then somebody was like, yo, E, you need to put 100,000 to the side. I was like, all right, 100,000. DD, we're going to put 100,000 to the side. Then somebody was like, yo, you need to get your credit score up to 800. I was like, all right, then get my credit score up to 800. And then somebody said, ET, if you want to be Tony Robbins, there's no way you'll be able to be like those dudes when you don't have the language they have. You need to go get your master's and a PhD from a white institution. I said, what? I went to Oakwood. I went to HBCU. He was like, yeah, but you didn't learn the language of Zig Ziglar at Oakwood. So Oakwood is a phenomenal place. Oh, y'all not hearing what I'm saying. I just said something and you missed it. Now you need to go to Michigan State University. CJ, you see my master's degree anywhere? How about my PhD? Not in the office? Not at church? You ain't seen it in my house? I didn't go to Michigan State to get a PhD. I went to Michigan State to learn the majority language. You can't speak in corporate when you say ambulance. It doesn't make my community inferior, but I can't. So I went to every single class, and when the teachers was talking, they thought I was just doing homework. I wasn't. I was listening to how they conjugate verbs. I was listening to how they tell stories. I was like, ooh. I peeped it out, y'all. They way more linear. You ever been to a black church before? The pastor, he all over the place. My man told 6 stories. He didn't close none of them. My man had told 6 stories. I promise you. I don't know what he's... you know what I'm saying? But in the hood, you just got to... You know what? You finish it for him. He was like, this is what he was going to say. But he never said it, though. My man started 6 stories. He ain't finished none story. So then I realized when you do corporate, it's A, B, C, D, E, F. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's topic, body, body, body. It's topic, support, conclusion. I didn't go to school. I'm not no kid. I don't need nobody 4.0. I don't need to be affirmed. I don't need your paper on my wall. I need your language, though, if I'm going to compete. I need your rules if I'm going to compete. I need your codes if I'm going to compete. The problem with most of you is you don't have a 1% language. You got a poverty language. No, I want to help you real quick. You think Warren Buffett reading just to be reading? The majority of you are poor because you read poor stuff. You watch poor stuff. You on Instagram watching fights. For real, you just scrolling through like you ain't got a life. For real, some of y'all on Instagram, you on there for 30 minutes. If I ask you what you saw, you don't even know. You just scrolling through. That's a poverty mindset. Rich people don't waste time. They realize it's their most important commodity. They don't watch a lot of TV. They don't do a lot of entertainment. If they're not working, they're studying their craft and getting better at their craft. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let me say it one more time. There was a language that I needed to learn. Does it mean I need to abandon the language that I learned? Absolutely not. Does it mean I need to put on a shirt and tie? Listen to me. When I do corporate, I promise you, I look like this. I probably don't look this good. Sometimes I got on shorts and a T-shirt. In corporate, why? Because I don't need to necessarily conform. They're not asking me to come to dress up. But I'm so good at what I do, they don't even require a suit. Are you hearing what I'm saying? Some of us don't want to wear a suit, but you're not on that level, though. Or you want to wear a suit and act as if your suit is going to compensate for what you're inferior at. Your suit don't make your language sweet. For real, some of you wear suits because you think like you're going to impress somebody with a suit, and you might get in the door, but sooner or later they're going to find out who you are. So I need you to stop having the poverty mindset. So when I quit my job to be an entrepreneur, my mom was like, whoa, what are you doing? I was like, I'm quitting. My mom was like, don't you dare quit. You're going to embarrass me. You got a wife and kids. Does YouTube have insurance? Does YouTube have a 401k? And I was like, yo, Ma, I ain't trying to be funny and I ain't trying to be disrespectful. I love you, but you can't teach me how to be a millionaire because you're not one. You come from the working class, and I'm not mad at you, Ma. We wouldn't be where we are without you, but you told me that every generation is supposed to get better. So I'll take your values, but I won't take your work ethic. Because rich people don't work, they think.
That was Eric Thomas. His website is ericthomas.com. You can watch today's talk on YouTube. It is called Eric Thomas Success Routine, Eric Thomas Motivation. Hey, please leave a rating and or a review for the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Really appreciate it. Helps to grow the show. Appreciate the ones that I've read so far. Very, very kind of you. And yeah, looking forward to reading more and seeing more of those 5-star ratings. I'll see you tomorrow. Let me give you the lineup. Carla Harris is on tomorrow. She's back. Dr. Farah Gray, who has an amazing story, is on Wednesday. Bishop T.D. Jakes on Thursday. Then we wrap things up with Myron Golden on a Friday. Thanks for listening to my big, long intro today. I might keep it shorter for the rest of the week so we can get right to the show. I'm out. Peace.